What if everything you've been told about twin flames ending up together is wrong? Picture this. You meet someone, and the world tilts on its axis. Time bends. Your soul recognizes theirs with a certainty that defies logic. You've read the stories, heard the whispers. This is it, your twin flame, you're forever. But here's the unsettling truth no spiritual influencer will admit. Not all twin flames are meant to walk down the aisle. Some aren't even meant to stay. This isn't another sugar-coated fairy tale about divine union. This is about the raw, messy, breathtaking reality of what happens when a love so intense crashes into the fragile confines of human relationships. Twin flames don't come into your life to play house. They come to ignite a revolution within you. And revolutions, they rarely fit neatly into wedding albums. Think of it like trying to bottle lightning. The sheer voltage of a twin flame connection can illuminate your darkest corners. But try to contain it in something as ordinary as marriage, and you might just get burned. That doesn't mean the love wasn't real. It means it was too real, too vast, too wild, too transformative to be confined by rings and vows. So why does this idea terrify us? Because we've been conditioned to believe that love's ultimate proof is longevity. That if a relationship doesn't last, it wasn't true. But what if the opposite is true? What if the most profound twin flame connections are the ones that don't end in marriage? The ones that shake you awake, leave you forever changed, and then gracefully bow out because their work is done. This isn't about giving up on love. It's about expanding your definition of it. Maybe your twin flame wasn't meant to be your spouse, but the mirror that showed you your own divinity. Maybe your forever wasn't supposed to look like shared custody and matching china, but a love so deep it redefined your soul's blueprint. Now, the real question is, are you brave enough to love without needing to own, to cherish without needing to keep? Because what comes next might just rewrite everything you thought you knew about twin flames and yourself. You've felt it, that electric pull, the way the universe seems to rearrange itself just so your eyes can meet theirs. The whispers of destiny, the synchronicities piling up like cosmic breadcrumbs, leading you straight into each other's arms. And then the inevitable thought, this is it, my twin flame, my forever. But here's the thing, what if forever doesn't look like the fairy tale you imagined? What if the grand finale isn't a white picket fence marriage, but something far wilder, far more real? Let's be honest, we've all been sold the myth that twin flames are supposed to end in marriage. That once you've survived the runner-chaser dynamic, the obsessive longing, the dark night of the soul, you'll waltz into a sunset-lit chapel and live blissfully ever after. But the truth, that's like expecting a hurricane to leave your living room untouched. Twin flames don't come into your life to decorate it. They come to renovate it, down to the foundation. Think of it like this. If a regular relationship is a cozy house, a twin flame connection is the architect who shows up, takes one look at your shaky foundation, and says, yeah, we're tearing this whole thing down. It's not cruel, it's necessary. Because what you thought was love before, that was just the idea of love. Twin flames don't let you get away with illusions. They mirror back every unhealed wound, every buried fear, every ego-clinging fantasy you've ever had about romance, and that's where the real magic happens. But here's the catch. Marriage, in the traditional sense, is a structure built for stability, not demolition. It thrives on routine, compromise, predictability. Twin flames, they thrive on transformation, on the kind of love that burns so bright it scorches away everything false. And sometimes that fire doesn't fit neatly inside a marriage license. Does that mean twin flame marriages can't work? But they work differently. They demand a level of honesty most people never attempt. They require you to love without ownership, to commit without chains, to stand together while still giving each other the space to evolve. It's not for the faint of heart, and maybe, just maybe, that's the point. Maybe the real success of a twin flame union isn't measured in anniversaries, but in how deeply you've both grown. Maybe the greatest love story isn't the one where you stay together forever, but the one where you set each other free, even if that freedom takes you down separate paths. So tell me, does the idea of a love that defies tradition excite you or terrify you? Stay tuned, because next, we're diving into why some twin flames need to separate before they can truly come back together. And trust me, it's not what you think. You know that moment when the universe hits the pause button on your love story? When one day you're drowning in their presence, and the next, silence. Radio static, a door slamming shut in the cosmic wind. And your heart? Oh, it screams. It wails. It writes furious poetry at 3 a.m. and deletes it by sunrise. But what if I told you that this separation isn't a tragedy? It's a sacred incubation. Think of a caterpillar in its chrysalis. From the outside, it looks like nothing's happening. Just a limp little sac hanging from a branch. But inside, there's a complete meltdown. Cells dissolving, reforming, rearranging into something entirely new. Now imagine if some impatient force ripped open that chrysalis mid-transformation. The creature inside wouldn't be a butterfly. It'd be a half-formed mess, doomed before it could fly. That's what premature reunion does to twin flames. We romanticize the idea of twin flames finding each other and staying together. No breaks, no detours, just an unbroken line from first eye contact to shared golden years. But the truth? Most twin flames who end up in lasting unions went through at least one major separation, sometimes years long, sometimes with other relationships in between. And here's the kicker. That separation wasn't an obstacle to their love. It was the forge that made it unbreakable. Why? Because real union requires two whole people, not two halves clutching at each other like survivors on a life raft, but two complete souls choosing each other from overflow, not lack. And that kind of wholeness? It's rarely achieved side by side. Sometimes you need the brutal gift of absence to realize where you end and they begin. Ever notice how you never appreciate your spine until you throw your back out? How you never think about oxygen until you're gasping for air? That's what separation does. It teaches you the architecture of your own soul. The parts you've neglected, the wounds you've numbed, the dreams you buried under we before you remembered what me felt like. And here's the beautiful paradox. The more you become yourself during separation, the more capable you are of true union later. Not the clingy, desperate kind of love that smells like fear and old band-aids, but the kind that says, I don't need you, I choose you. The kind that can look at their flaws and say, yes, even that, because you've made peace with your own. So if you're in the thick of separation right now, knees bruised from praying for their return, hear this. You're not being punished. You're being prepared. Every lonely night, every unanswered text, every tear that carves a new valley in your heart, it's all compost for the most breathtaking love you'll ever know. But, and here's the spicy part, what if they don't come back? Ah, darling, that's when you discover the real magic wasn't them at all. Stay for the next chapter, where we dismantle the biggest lie about twin flames, that you're only complete when they're by your side. Your wholeness was never up for negotiation. Let's talk about the elephant in the room, the one wearing a wedding veil while flipping off tradition with a champagne flute in hand. You've been fed this story your whole life. Meet, fall in love, marry, house, kids, retirement, the end. Cue the credits. But twin flames, oh, they don't just ignore that script, they set it on fire and dance around the flames laughing. Because here's the secret. Twin flame marriages don't succeed in spite of being unconventional. They succeed because they are. Picture a traditional marriage like a symphony orchestra. Every instrument has its place, every note is meticulously planned, and the conductor ensures no one dares improvise. Now imagine a twin flame marriage as a jazz club at 2 a.m. Saxophone wailing, drummer freestyling, the singer scatting lyrics that didn't exist 3 seconds ago. It's chaotic, it's alive, it's messy. And yet, when the magic hits, it's the kind of beauty that cracks your soul open. Why? Because twin flames don't marry to settle down, they marry to wake up. Think about it. Most relationships ask you to fit into roles, expectations, timelines. But twin flames, they demand you outgrow. They're the mirror that won't let you hide, the fire that won't let you sleepwalk. And that kind of radical honesty, it doesn't thrive in the quiet suburbs of compromise. It needs wild, untamed soil. So you'll find twin flames who live in separate cities because their careers demand it, and FaceTime at midnight like teenagers. Sleep in different beds because one's a starfish sleeper and the other needs space to meditate at 4 a.m. Forgo kids to travel the world writing poetry, or have kids but raise them in a communal spiritual village. Stay legally unmarried for tax reasons, but wear matching rings they forged themselves. And before you scoff, ask yourself, who decided normal was the goal? The truth is, twin flame marriages work when they're built on truth, not tradition. When two people care more about authenticity than appearances. When success isn't measured in anniversary count, but in how deeply you've seen each other. Ugly cries, shadow sides, and all. But here's the kicker. This rebellion isn't selfish, it's sacred. Every time a twin flame couple chooses honesty over convention, they're not just rewriting their own love story, they're quietly dismantling the cages for everyone else. They're proving love doesn't have to shrink to fit inside boxes, that it can be vast, uncontainable, free. So if your twin flame marriage looks nothing like your parents', good. If it raises eyebrows at family reunions, even better. You're not here to follow the map. You're here to draw a new one. You know that feeling when you meet someone and the universe screams, synchronicities piling up like cosmic breadcrumbs, chemistry so electric it could power a small city. That dizzying sense of, this is it, my twin flame, and then it all goes to hell. What if I told you that the most painful twin flame connections aren't twin flames at all? That the person who cracked your heart open wasn't your mirror soul, but a brilliant, necessary imposter? Let's get uncomfortably honest. The twin flame journey has a doppelganger problem. Karmic relationships are the ultimate shapeshifters. They wear twin flame costumes so convincing, even your intuition gets fooled. The intensity? Check. The soul deep recognition? Check. The obsessive pull, the telepathy, the feeling they've known you across lifetimes? Triple check. But here's the catch. Karmics mirror your wounds, not your wholeness. They're the sandpaper to your soul. Rough, relentless, and only here to smooth your edges before they exit stage left. Think of it like this. If twin flames are the ocean, vast, eternal, terrifyingly deep, then karmics are the riptide. They pull you under just long enough to teach you how to swim, then spit you back onto shore, gasping and wiser. And oh, how we fight this truth. We'll write manifestos about how divine timing will reunite us, how their hot and cold behavior is just runner energy, how the universe wouldn't dare give us this love just to take it away. But darling, what if the universe didn't give you forever? What if it gave you exactly what you needed? A masterclass in letting go. The brutal beauty? You had to believe they were the one. Otherwise, you wouldn't have stayed long enough to learn the lesson. Karmics are spiritual Trojan horses. They had to sneak past your defenses disguised as destiny to deliver their medicine. So how do you tell the difference? Twin flames disrupt your life to rebuild it stronger. Karmics dismantle it to force you to rebuild differently. Twin flames trigger growth through reflection. Karmics trigger breakdowns through repetition. Twin flames leave you thinking, this is hard, but I'm becoming. Karmics leave you thinking, why does this keep happening to me? And here's the secret. Some souls are only meant to love you briefly, so you can learn to love yourself endlessly. So if you're still aching over a connection that burned bright but left you in ashes, breathe. That wasn't your twin flame failing you. That was the universe removing a stand-in so the real lead could take the stage. Coming next, the shocking reason why your failed twin flame connection might be the most successful spiritual initiation of your life. Stay tuned. Let's talk about the one wearing a wedding dress in one hand and holding a one-way ticket to Bali in the other. We've been spoon-fed this idea that twin flames are supposed to end up together, that if you just heal enough, manifest enough, or suffer gloriously enough, the universe will hand you a fairy tale ending wrapped in a bow. But what if the most sacred twin flame unions don't lead to marriage? What if the deepest love stories aren't about possession, but liberation? Here's the truth that might sting before it sets you free. Some twin flames aren't meant to be together in the physical realm, and that doesn't make your connection any less eternal. Think of them as spiritual collaborators rather than life partners. Like two artists who create their best work in separate studios, then meet occasionally to exchange masterpieces. or like parallel universes that brush against each other, just enough to exchange light, but never collapse into one. This isn't about giving up, it's about leveling up. The moment you realize your twin flame doesn't have to be your spouse is the moment you stop shrinking a cosmic connection into a human-sized box. You start seeing the bigger picture, that maybe your souls signed a contract to awaken each other, not to share a mortgage, that perhaps your love was never meant to be measured in anniversaries, but in quantum leaps of consciousness. And here's the radical part. This doesn't mean you failed. A gardener doesn't fail when the seed becomes a flower instead of a tree. The ocean doesn't fail when it kisses the shore but doesn't stay. Some loves are meant to be felt more than lived, to be the wind at your back, not the ground beneath your feet. So, if you're holding on to guilt because your twin flame married someone else, or because you walked away, or because life pulled you in different directions, hear this. You didn't abandon destiny. You honored it. Because real twin flame love doesn't chain. It chooses. Not just once, but moment by moment. And sometimes the most profound choice is releasing the physical to keep the spiritual pure. Stay for the final evolution. How to recognize when your twin flame journey is complete, even if it didn't end with a ring. You've traveled this far, through the fire of longing, the storms of doubt, the quiet ache of unanswered questions. Maybe you're here because you need permission to close a chapter. Or perhaps you're realizing that some loves aren't meant to be lived. They're meant to be integrated. Let me tell you a secret. The most profound twin flame journeys don't end with a wedding. They end with a homecoming. Not to them, to yourself. Imagine your twin flame connection as a celestial tuning fork. Its vibrations shook loose everything in you that wasn't truth, every false belief, every unloved shadow, every dream you abandoned to fit in. Now the ringing silence remains, and you're left with a choice. Keep chasing the echo, or become the resonance. This is where most spiritual teachings abandon you. They'll obsess over union, reunion, and divine timing, but rarely acknowledge the sacred completion. The moment your soul whispers, "We're done here," not because you failed, but because you fulfilled. You'll know it by the quietness of it. No lightning bolts, no dramatic farewells, just a subtle shift, like a tree releasing a leaf in autumn. One day you'll think of them and realize the ache has been replaced by gratitude. The obsession has dissolved into curiosity. The what if has become what now. And here's the paradox. The more you release the form of the connection, the more its essence becomes yours forever. Their laughter lives in your joy. Their wisdom moves through your choices. Their love becomes the air you breathe, not because they're gone, but because they've become part of your atmosphere. This isn't closure, it's expansion. So if you're standing at this crossroads, trembling between holding on and letting go, remember, twin flames aren't about finding your other half. They're about realizing you were whole all along. The tears, the synchronicities, the sleepless nights, they weren't obstacles to your happiness. They were the alchemical ingredients for your becoming